Buckle in, sports fans. You're listening to The William Haynes Show. The program will be starting in just a couple of minutes, so grab your popcorn and get ready to enjoy the show. While you're waiting, make sure you're following us on social media at WHBC Stream and staying tuned to WHBCStream.com. We're so glad to have you today on the program, and we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line on Twitter or call the show 352-639-0036. And thanks again for tuning in.
HBC. We're one win away from Arlington. It is a good morning to you, and how you be? William Haynes here, you there, here at 12:53 here on this early Wednesday morning. Rays post-game show live, talking Game 3. The Rays now up 3-0 over the Houston Astros in this best-of-7. They won tonight's game by a score of 5-2. Another Jose Altuve error opened the door for a big Rays inning that came in the 6th, where they put up a 5 spot, and that really turned the tide, I think, in the game, and certainly, I think, the series as well. Ryan Yarbrough gets his first win in about, I think, 17 decisions in the biggest start of his life. A bit strange to see him start. The explanation, obviously Ryan Thompson has kind of been that opener kind of guy so far. Well, Cash said that he wanted Thompson available to pitch in the end of the game where, the potential for big outs would lie, and he ended up recording an out and gave up a couple of hits as well. So the bullpen, again, ran into a bit of trouble. I guess 2 of the 3 members of the A bullpen came in. It was Pete Fairbanks in the 6th and Diego Castillo in the 9th. It makes sense that Nick Anderson got the day off. I'm not even sure if he would be available tomorrow. You think maybe he would be, if the Rays have the lead, potentially even for a 6-out save. But, we're going to have to kind of play that by ear. You do that when you get there. Just wanted to let you guys know, anyone listening to the show right now live, we have a line open for you if you want to call in and talk to me about the Rays. The number to call is 877-566-1020, internationally toll free, all that stuff. I'll foot the bill, what have you. But if not, again, Rays 5-2 over the Houston Astros. We're going to try and blow through this show a little bit quicker. I can't recall the last time I was on starting a show at about 1 in the morning, but I guess this is the way of the MLB in the postseason. The Dodgers and Braves, I guess they're getting the primetime slot starting at 6 or 7 or whenever they started. By the way, I don't know how much we'll talk about it, but the Braves, they went 8-7 over the Dodgers. I know they had a big lead, and then the Dodgers had a tying run actually 90 feet away. It was H.A. Pollock recording it out to strain them in at third. So the Braves take a 2-0 series lead. I know Kershaw was slated to start for the Dodgers. He got scratched, so they had to go with someone else. So I'm still not obviously out on the Dodgers. I would still pick them to win this series at this point. I don't know. It would be so Braves for them to just kind of fall apart in this series. They're undefeated in the month of October so far. I know the Dodgers haven't lost back-to-back games since early September, but not really as important. Again, 5-2 Rays win. They're up 3-0 in the best of 7. I think we'll preview Game 4 at the end of the show, but I like their odds. I like their chances to take Game 4. It's going to be Tyler Glasnow against Zach Greinke. Greinke, I know, has struggled a bit this postseason. I know the Rays beat him up in the ALDS last year, and Tyler Glasnow, I think without a doubt, has been the Rays' best starter over the course of this entire season. So we'll touch on that right at the end of the show. Again, I'll give you the number to call one more time. We still have a line open, 877-566-1020. But without further ado, for the Rays, they are victorious, 5 runs on 8 hits, no errors. And for the Houston Astros, 2 runs on 7 hits. So finally, the Rays out-hit the Astros, which is kind of funny. Then the one error, the Jose Altuve on a throw that they should have gotten the lead runner at second base, but instead both men were safe, and that opened the gates for a 6th inning where, according to my math, 11 men came to the plate. And I'll give credit. We had one of my better callers, better listeners, what have you, Seth from LA. He called in and made a comment that, about the Rays' offensive struggles. He was saying, save for the couple of blowouts that the Rays have had this season, their big inning is only, a couple, 3 or 4 guys, come to the plate, a home run, whatever. They get the runs there. But he was like, we need to see an inning where, 5 or 6 guys come to the plate, and, they're, one guy after another getting on base, what have you. So finally, 11 men come to the plate in the 6th. They end up scoring 5 runs on 4 hits. The error loomed large for Jose Altuve. I think I believe no errors on any throws. I know he had some in the field, but no errors on throws in the regular season, and he's had 3 of those in just a matter of 2 days, and it seemed like everything is just unraveling for the Astros. Going into this series, I think we all knew that they just didn't have it. Just like I kind of put them with the Chicago Cubs. I mean, their window is pretty much closing. I think I want to say George Springer or Michael Brantley, they're going to be a free agent. All the other guys are aging. All the pitching is gone. I mean, I know they have guys coming up, but I mean, Justin Verlander won't pitch again as an Astro. Cole is gone, as we know. Greinke, I don't think he's got really that same stuff anymore. And then I don't think the bullpen is very good for Houston either. So this was kind of their chance with Dusty Baker to kind of fill the void and to kind of be the bridge to that, I guess, new rebuilding stage that Houston will be going through. In a matter of a handful of seasons. So this was their chance to kind of make one final stand, to make a response to all the cheating allegations. And for the most part, they have just laid down flat in this ALCS. I mean, scoring opportunities out the wazoo. They leave the bases loaded again in the 8th inning. They did that in Game 1. I know they left the bases. I want to say they left the bases loaded in the 9th yesterday. So in crucial spots, they've left the bases loaded in all 3 games thus far this series. I didn't officially count. In Game 1, they left 10 men on base. In Game 2, they left 11 men on base, and in Game 3, they left 10 men on base. So if my math is correct, that's 31 total men left on base over the course of 3 innings, or 3 games rather. And then you look at how they did with runners in scoring position, albeit the Rays haven't done much better. In Game 1, they go 2 for 8. In Game 2, they go 1 for 8. And in Game 3, they go 1 for 8. So maybe I can do the math on that. So that would be... putting me on the spot here, that would be 3 for 24 as I just do that napkin math there. So again, that's abysmal. 3 for 24. Let me just, what is the average? What average would that be? They're batting 125 with runners in scoring position thus far this series, and I'll save you, I guess, kind of that nonsense for the Rays. But tonight for the Rays, they go 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position. So, you bat 333. That's better than they've done in the past. It was a big pinch hit double for Renfroe in that big 6th inning, and then Yandy Diaz I'm trying to see where that came. He batted cleanup tonight, so that was good. Yeah, that came in the 6th inning as well. So, and they leave 8 total men on base. Not bad. The pitching, I think, is just kind of really, I don't know if it's luck or what. We said, I think, on yesterday's show, it was just a matter of the ball is bouncing in favor of the Rays. They're taking advantage of it. Not only is it bouncing in favor of the Rays, but they're also making good defensive plays on top of it. We know with Joey Wendell and all the spectacular plays that he made, and some of the low throws to Ji-Man Choi, and he did the famous Choi splits to record those outs. I think over the past 2 seasons, he's recorded the most, I think, base hits or something saved, something along those lines, or on pick attempts in the dirt or whatever. But he's been the best first baseman in the major leagues in regard to that specific stat. So he showed that yesterday. He was out of the lineup tonight against a righty, which was a little curious. I forgot to mention that on Twitter at WHBC Stream. I give thoughts on the lineup card, and if you follow that, the link immediately goes out on that Twitter when I go live, so that way you can catch the show right from the beginning. But anyway, it kind of slipped through the cracks, and Cash had said that it wasn't about any kind of injury thing. I'm not sure I believe that. We know with the hamstring injury and doing all the splits that he did, and I don't know, kind of like the grimace looks on his face. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. The hamstring is probably healthy, but Cash is like, okay, I'm not going to push my luck here. We're up 2-0. We have a guy in Yandy Diaz who's, I guess, a pretty good cleanup man in his own right. I had kind of gone off, I think, either on yesterday's show or on Sunday night's show, basically saying I don't like Yandy Diaz in the cleanup spot because all he does is walk. Well, he finally comes through with a single, I guess, an RBI single. It must be, if I'm not mistaken, because they said that he was 1 for 2 with runners in scoring position. So there you go, came through. That's good to see. I guess now we'll just give you the lineup the way it was. The defensive alignment first in the outfield, from left to right, it was Randy Arozarena in left, Kevin Kiermaier in center. In right field, it was Manuel Margot, and then the infield from third to first. At third base, it was Joey Wendell. At shortstop, Willie Adames. Brandon Lau played second base. Yandy Diaz played first. Michael Perez was the catcher. And the DH and leading off was Austin Meadows. Obviously, the starting pitcher we know was Ryan Yarbrough. It was just a little bit of trouble looking at the scorecard because of all the adjustments that ended up being made and the way the lineup was formatted. Yandy Diaz, the DH, led off, followed by Arozarena and Lau. Yandy Diaz cleaned up, followed by Wendell at 5, Margot at 6, and a bottom 3 of Kiermaier, Adames, and Perez. We'll start right from the top. Just take it 1 through 9, and then talk about the pitching, and then we'll go inning by inning and maybe take some of your calls along the way. Again, I'll just give you the number once more. 877-566-1020 is the number to call. But Austin Meadows, he goes 0 for 5 with 1 strikeout. A brutal postseason for him. I think it's kind of it's kind of gone a little bit forgotten that he really shouldn't even be playing right now. We thought when that injury, whatever it was, I want to say, I'm not an oblique, I want to say, but I'm not exactly sure, that it would be a miracle, basically, if he came back for the World Series, and there he was in the ALDS roster and played a role in that series. We know that the home run in Game 5, that could have been the game right there if he hadn't hit that home run. So that certainly was big. I just want to give this update right now. 17 minutes ago, but Kevin Cash and Kevin Kiermaier got hit in the left hand by a pitch. He said, I think he's going to be fine. So Kiermaier, yeah, it's good. The X-rays, I think, were negative, so he should be back. But anyway, talking about Meadows, so I think don't let it get lost in you that it's fortunate that we even have him on the roster right now. I think he's played the field once. He's DH'd the other times. I was expecting maybe Yoshi Tsutsugo to get some at-bats against a righty starter. Jose Urquidy ended up going 5 innings, so they had that opportunity. Meadows would have had to play the field because I don't think they're going to let Yoshi play the field. I think that's part of the concern. And another thing, too, this is more of a big picture thing, and we can kind of talk about, a whole offseason to talk about it. A 2-year, $12 million deal He's making $5 million this year, $7 million next year. He's one of the highest paid players on this team. And where is he in these games? I mean, obviously they're winning without him, but it's just like, well, I guess, the weird season. I know we had a caller that was optimistic about Tsutsugo, basically, this weird season and all the adjustments that he had to make, all things being considered, that we should be content with his performance. And I can't necessarily argue that. Hitting is a very fine-tuned art, and, coming over from Japan and the success that he had over there and trying to kind of transform his game, to the American game, I don't necessarily know. He's on the books for $7 million next year, and we'll see. But a bit odd to me. Let's just say that he hasn't really been getting any playing time in the postseason. But again, they're doing just fine without him. But either way, Meadows, looking at his at-bats, I'd mentioned yesterday that I liked the at-bats that he worked. Not necessarily that, that he found the baseball with the barrel, but he just took a lot of pitches. Like his leadoff at-bat yesterday was a ground out to short on a 2-2 count. Here, it was on an 0-1 count, just popped it straight up. So obviously he got a pitch that he wanted to swing at and thought he could hit, but just, popped it straight up, and there you go. I'll reiterate it again and try and make the synopsis, I guess, as short as possible. The reason why I talk about that with a leadoff hitter and not necessarily even them getting on base, which is kind of the traditional job of leadoff hitter, but the at-bats that they work, it does two things. One, if you can work a nice lengthy at-bat, foul off some pitches, whatever, have a good eye, take balls, it gets the starting pitcher out of a rhythm. If you just give him an easy out, he can kind of exhale and move along with the other two really good hitters that any given team will have at the top of their order. And reason number two, it allows those said hitters to get a good idea of what that pitcher is going to throw. When you only see two pitches in an at-bat, obviously the advanced scanning reports and all these things, I mean, these guys know, but to see it in live action, I think helps. And, you only see a couple of pitches from Jose Urquidy, and who knows how that could have affected maybe what Arozarena and Lau did to follow. They both flew out to center, but I think I got to eat my words on that. Arozarena, I think he and I think Lau put deep charges on those baseballs, and Petco Park plays, I think, especially deep around center field and to left and right center. The corners, I think, are pretty short, but the whole kind of center field area plays deep. And I know those two, I think at least one or maybe both of those flyouts were deeper than the home run that Jose Altuve hit in the bottom of that inning. So make of that what you will. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. That was the at-bat again that Meadows worked. Popped out again on a 1-0 count, flew out on a 1-1 count, popped up on an 0-2 count, and struck out in the ninth inning. So to me, I just don't know. When you pop the ball straight up like that, obviously you're undercutting the baseball with the bat, and I don't know, that just him and Brandon Lau, it seems like they just don't even see the baseball well, even when it's in the zone. It could be right down the middle, and these guys just kind of swing through it, which perplexes me for guys that have hit so well over the course of their career, and even at times this season, more so for Lau than for Meadows. We had a really good call probably at this point a couple of weeks ago about Austin Meadows and a study that had been done by probably some university or whatever, but saying that the negative effects of COVID could be affecting Meadows. So obviously you don't make necessarily any judgments on him for this season, but I don't necessarily need him in the leadoff spot. There's a lot of other guys. I've been kind of posing for Choi to get that role. They like him at cleanup. That's fine. Arozarena, I think he works at 2 or 3. Brasso is a good leadoff hitter. Wendell has even done it. I think he's even led off multiple games this year with a home run, but they like him in the middle of the order. At he batted 5th tonight. That's 5, 6, 7 type hitter, and he plays well in that role. I mean, Margot. I'm at the point now where let's just get some different guys. I think Meadows would be better served batting 5th, 6th, or 7th. Well, 5th or 6th anyway. But Cash is going to stick with the lineup that got him to a 40-20 record over the course of the regular season, and I don't think you can necessarily blame him for that. So Meadows, to make a long story longer, goes 0 for 5 with a strikeout. Batting second, Randy Arozarena. I think I'm going to get this wrong. I know he goes 3 for 4 with a walk, so reaches base 4 times in 5 plate appearances. Absolutely dynamite. Arozarena is carrying this lineup once more. I think I want to say, again, I know I'm going to get it wrong. I want to say this is the third or fourth 3-hit game for him in this playoffs, and I think he's the first rookie to do that. I know Ichiro Suzuki in 2001 holds the record for most 3-hit games in a playoffs. I think he had 4 or 5 or something like that. So Arozarena, the red hot level that he's on right now, I mean, making history really. Flew out to center to start, but then he hit a double in the third inning where they couldn't bring him in, but a double with 1 out that gives your team a good chance. Gets an RBI single in that busy 6th inning, and then singles in the 9th, and he gets thrown out on the fielder's choice. So, but is getting on base again, working the walks. That's nice to see too. I don't have that. They said he walked. I don't have it on my lineup card though. So I don't know about that. But anyway, good. Oh, okay, yeah. I had he was intentionally walked. My bad. So he did get intentionally walked, but it is in the walk column. So again, Rich's bay is 4 times in 5 plate appearances. You take that. Batting third, it was Brandon Lau 0 for 5 with a strikeout, and this goes back to my point that I made in games 1 and 2. Austin Meadows and Brandon Lau, they usually bat 1 and 2. Now they bat 1 and 3. And they combined to go 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. That's just, I don't know. I don't know how they keep winning like this. That's usually, a sign of a team that has no life. It's kind of been the same case for Houston, whether it's Springer and Bregman both having offers tonight, or, Altuve and Brantley did get a couple of hits, but Lau, I don't know. I listened to the radio calls during the game. I can kind of sync it up with the TV, which is really nice. I'd recommend doing that if you've got access to the MLB radio stuff. But Dave and Andy on WDAE on the call, they're always rooting for Brandon Lau, and why wouldn't you? But it seems like every time he comes to the plate, they're like, oh, this is the chance. He can finally put this stuff to bed and get out of this slump, blah, blah, blah. I want to say he's on like a 1 for 33 right now, and Kevin Cash is as stubborn as he is, going to bat him second and third every day. And I understand that with a guy that's that frustrated, the last thing you want to do is to kind of damage his confidence by putting him down, lower in the order, but he's hurting the team. I don't know. He puts the ball in play a little more today, but just didn't really show you much at all. He had a couple of at-bats in the 6th inning where the Rays did some damage, and he a fielder's choice and a strikeout. So when in an inning where everyone was getting on base, he basically goes 0 for 2, although the fielder's choice, kept it moving. But I don't know. Cash is going to keep him up there. I don't really have anything else to say. It's kind of the same kind of broken record. Same with Meadows. We'll swing through pitches inside the zone. Chase is just really pathetic. Sliders and changeups outside of the zone that he shouldn't. And that's just the end of the story, really. Batting cleanup, it was Yandy Diaz. He goes 1 for 5. Looking at his at-bats, a couple of flyouts to right, strikeout, fielder's choice, and then the single in the 6th inning. That's fine. Didn't work any walks, which is a bit strange to see from Yandy Diaz, but, kept it moving. It's hard to you don't get as much, I think some things are lost when you look at the box score in a game like this, because the 6th inning really did make this game, and, a lot of people got involved in that inning, and outside of that, they really struggled to get base runners of any sort. But moving along, batting 5th, Wendell goes 2 for 4, knocks in a couple of runs. That came a 2 RBI single in the 6th. I think that was the one I want to say that really broke it open. They had a hit by pitch to bring it in, and that was the RBI, I think, for Yandy Diaz. Well, they didn't give him credit for it, but a hit by pitch does count for a RBI. So Wendell, good for him. 2 for 4, had a couple games offensively, although he's played one heck of a third base, so good for him to kind of put the offense and defense together. Margot goes 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. That's fine. He played good defense. Still in that high of the Manny Margot game. It's what they're calling it, I guess, in game 2. Looking at his at-bats, singles in his first time up, strikes out a couple times, and grounds out to Okay, gotcha. The ground out to the catcher, that was basically a bunt, a sac bunt, the first of the season for the Rays. That came in that 6th inning, and that moved 2 runners in a scoring position, and it looked like Hunter Renfroe that knocked him in. So that's when you got to look at the scorecard, not necessarily the box score. So 1 for 3, did have the sac bunt. I've been telling you guys all this time, whether Margot goes through a slump or not. I told you guys, and I could probably go back and find several instances of me saying this. There's going to be a time where, in a crucial spot, when you're trying to just dig out some runs, you need Manny Margot, to play some old school baseball, sac bunt, move runners into scoring position, and drive them in. And he did that, first sac bunt of the season. And at this point, the Rays have played, 70 games? And this is, or so, and this is the first instance of that. So I find that to be a bit comical as well. But that works out. Kiermaier, 0 for 2, does get hit in the hand, a hit by pitch, and it looks like he's going to be fine. X-rays were negative. If they were going to put him on the injured list and, bring up Brett Phillips, say, Kiermaier would be out for the World Series. So I think, they'd be better off either way just to keep him on the roster. I mean, the only teams to ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in a best-of-7 was the 2004 Red Sox that, were, I guess, on a... I don't know. There's a lot of stuff at play with the 2004 Red Sox. They were the miracle team, breaking the curse of the Bambino. So, and that's my point is that's certainly not the Houston Astros. They don't have that kind of baseball magic on their side. If anything, exactly the opposite. And I think, I say this, I guess, partially or with the majority of the tongue in the cheek, but looks like the baseball gods have been kind of frowning upon the Houston Astros, at least in this series. I know they were clobbering the baseball against the Oakland A's in the ALCS, but they get into this championship series, and it just seems like they're hitting the ball hard, but it's right into the glove of a Rays defender, and I would be doing the team a misservice if I didn't mention those 3 catches in the outfield. Kevin Kiermaier probably robbed a double from, I want to say it was Bregman in the first inning, and then Hunter Renfroe with a couple of diving stops to save probably extra base hits and even take some runs away. I know there was one where Altuve should have tagged up from third but did not. I think he's just kind of phoning the series in at this point, even with the home run. He's killed this team in this series for Houston, but again, the defense was spectacular. This is the Rays formula, pitching and defense, not necessarily timely hitting, which, pairs very nicely with those 2 things. But one thing I will say about the Rays offense, they take advantage of mistakes. I mean, there's times where they would do that against the Yankees, whether it was a, Gary Sanchez pass ball and they get a runner in scoring position or just a pitcher that can't find control and starts walking guys. It seems like in those moments, the Rays are able to capitalize. And right now, they have made Jose Altuve, they've killed him for the errors. In Game 2, we know the 3-run homer, in that error for Altuve, that would have been the 3rd out of the inning. The next guy comes up, hits a 3-run shot. That ended up being, the game-winning hit. And here today, it opened up the Rays for that 6th inning where they scored 5 runs. So there you go. You don't necessarily have to do a great job of generating offense or whatever. The timely long ball has certainly been there. Just that 8th inning home run from Brasso in Game 5. We know that's going to be one of the. Whether you have this discussion or not, that's probably a top 3, top 5 play in team history. But 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position is a better mark than they've been having. And again, just take advantage of the mistakes and you'll be just fine. Adames, he goes 0 for 2 with a walk, also gets hit by a pitch, and that was the RBI hit by pitch for him. So he reaches base a couple times. Michael Perez starts a catcher, goes 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, including, I think, he was 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position, so he did have a chance there to do some damage and just kind of relinquish that opportunity. Struck out, again, both times, and that's fine. Renfroe came pinch hit for him and had that 2 RBI double, and then Zunino came in to catch. So that all worked out for the pitchers. We know Ryan Yarbrough getting the win, his first and I think 17, starts or appearances, if you will. 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs on 3 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 2 home runs allowed. The one was in the first inning to Altuve. The second was in the 6th inning, so technically 5+, I guess, in your scorecard officially for him, as he could not record an out in the 6th inning, but did come out to start it. That home run was to Michael Brantley. So it was after that really long 6th inning, and it makes sense. You want him to come out and get the lefty Brantley out, and then it was, the slew of righties to follow, but that didn't work out. So really, you take that away, I guess. Five innings of 1-run ball at that point, and base runners. It seemed like base runners galore, but over 5 innings, basically 4 of them, I guess 3 of them. You take away the 2 home runs, just 1 hit, 2 walks, but it seemed like he was getting in quite a bit of trouble. 21 batters faced, threw a first pitch strike to 12 of them, so that's about a 50% clip, which I don't love that, but got through it tonight. And then Pete Fairbanks came in after that home run for Brantley in the 6th and got a quick 1-2-3. That was good for him. John Curtis got into a little bit of trouble, a couple hits, but got a clean, scoreless 7th. Ryan Thompson recorded only 1 out, allowed a couple of hits. Then Loop came in and had got two batters out and 2 batters faced, and then Castillo with that interesting 9th inning where he walked a couple of men and brought the tying run to the plate and ended up getting out of it. So there you go with that. Not really, I guess, much else to say. So with that being said, we'll do inning by inning breakdown and then preview tomorrow's game and get out of here. I don't know if we'll get a full hour in tonight. We're about halfway through at this point. Again, give it to you again. The number to call. We have a line open. You want to come on and talk Rays? I know. 1:30 is late, at least for those of you on the East Coast. But the number to call is 877-566-1020. With that being said, top of the first inning, Jose Urquidy on for the Astros, starting pitcher, got a 1-2-3 inning. Meadows popped out easily. Arozarena on a 2-0 count. Flew out to center, but it was a pretty deeply or hard struck ball, I guess you could say. And then Lau, I think, the same for him as well. So had a couple of chances. Urquidy only threw 6 pitches in that opening inning, so you're thinking maybe he was poised for a bit of a deep start. He had 5 innings scoreless of a World Series game last year, and he was the first rookie to do that in quite some time. So certainly was not shy for the moment. Bottom of the first, starting pitcher Ryan Yarbrough on. Springer strikes him out. There you go, out number 1. That came on a 2-2 count. There you go, cutter up. And that was really the thing for Yarbrough. You probably watched the game, but was just kind of biting at the corners the whole time. Didn't really want to give them anything to hit. When you're throwing 87 as I guess your fastball, it's a sinker. You don't want to get too much of the plate, and that's fine. But it just seemed like his balls to strike 82 pitches, 50 strikes, which I don't think is great, but that probably looks better than it looked on the game tape. Got Springer to strike out swinging for out number 1. Then Jose Altuve, 355 feet to left to make it 1-0 Astros. In the bottom of the first, it was an 82-mile-an-hour cutter that ran up and into the right-handed hitter, and I give credit. The Rays came in with a plan that they wanted to pitch inside to Altuve to make him uncomfortable because he pitches right, or he bats right in front of in the front of the box basically. I think it was Dave Wills that said this on the broadcast. Basically, he tries to turn on those pitches before they basically break. So it was a cutter, and the cutter would have broke, but Jose Altuve, with him standing in the front of the box like that, in the front corner, he gets that pitch early, and he turns on that thing before it even really begins to break, deposits it into the shallow left field, seats, 355 feet, only, again, made it 1-0 Stros, and that was, I think, his second home run of the series. So after that, Yarbrough settled in nicely, got Brantley and Bregman, although I think the Bregman one, it was if it wasn't for Kiermaier, that probably would have been a double, and there was actually multiple very good Kiermaier plays and 2 really good Renfroe plays. So there you go, 4 really crucial plays in the outfield. Top of the second, Yandy Diaz comes up, lines out to right. Actually, I think got a good hit on that one, I believe. I know he had another one of those with some runners on. Then Wendell on an 0-2 count, singles, caught a bad break there, just kind of really just caught a wall over there, kind of down the left field line where the seats kind of jut in. If he had just got it, I guess, a little more to the right side, it would have been probably a double. But he gets on with a single. Then Margot singles to left, runners at the corners with only one out. Kevin Kiermaier comes up and in a full count strikes out swinging. Urquidy gave him 3 straight changeups, so I don't understand what he was fooled by. Only saw 1 fastball in the at-bat. So he saw 6 pitches, got 1 fastball, 5 changeups, and he swings through the changeup. So I don't know about that. Adames walks to load the bases, so good at-bat worked by him. Adames, again, I mean, the shortstop is the defensive nature of what he's doing is good enough just to be in the lineup every day, but I think playoff Willie is kind of a myth as far as the hitting. He just had a good series against Houston, I guess, hit a couple home runs. I guess some people just trying to speak that into existence. I can't blame you, but the timely walk certainly has been there, and his walk in the second did load the bases for catcher Michael Perez, and again, too early to pinch hit, but Michael Perez, come to think, and I think it was Game 3 or Game 4 against the Yanks, hit an RBI single in the first couple innings, but non-competitive at-bat, just fastballs all the way, and then swung through changeup. So that makes sense. I mean, you're C96 for 3 pitches, and then it's 0-2, and you're gearing up for I don't know what, and you get an 86 changeup, and you swing through it with the bases full. So they missed that opportunity. If Perez could have reached base, would have gone back to the top for Meadows. But bottom of the second, Yarbrough still on. Correa flies out. Then he walks Tucker. Gurriel strikes out. Ledmus Diaz singles to put runners at the corners with 2 outs, and then gets Garneau. Kind of getting flashbacks to Travis d'Arnaud, but it was Dustin Garneau, the catcher, struck out, got the 9-hitter. I think he batted like 150 in the regular season, so you take advantage of that. A guy that really hasn't gotten much of any playing time at all, so there you go. Runners at the corners extinguish the threat. At the end of 2, it was 1-0 Houston. Top of the third, Meadows pops out, and then Arozarena doubles. Got a nice pitch to hit. Well, finally hits the off-speed for extra bases. A curveball probably would have been called a strike had he taken it on a 2-2 count, so give him credit to that, and got it in deep left. Runner at second, nobody out. Then Lau grounds out, but moves Arozarena 90 feet away, but with 2 outs. And then Yandy Diaz on a 2-0 count, got a fastball middle, and got a good charge on it, but it was right into the glove of right fielder Kyle Tucker. So they miss another opportunity with runners in scoring position. Through 3, it was 1-0. Bottom of the third, Yarbrough on. George Springer lines out on the first pitch. It's a hung curveball. Then he walks Jose Altuve. Brantley grounds into a fielder's choice, so they get the lead runner Altuve out. So 2 out, 1 man on. Bregman gets hit by a pitch on a 2-2 count. It was just a cutter that ran in, and that pitch has a lot of movement, and cuts into righties. So first and second with 2 outs. Then Carlos Correa on the first pitch that he sees lines out to center. I want to say that was probably the head first diving play by Kiermaier, if I had to guess. So he probably saves potentially a couple of runs there, which is huge. Top of the fourth, Urquidy comes on, gets a 1-2-3 inning. That's I guess as good as it would get for him. Oh no, but gets Wendell, Margot, and Kiermaier there. Bottom of the fourth, Yarbrough gets a 1-2-3 of his own. The game was kind of flying at this point. Yarbrough gets Tucker, Gurriel, and Diaz. Top of the fifth, against Urquidy, the Rays, Adames, Perez, Meadows, all retired in a row. Then bottom of the fifth, Yarbrough on, gets 3 outs. Garneau, Springer, Altuve. So there you go. Also, I totally blew this again. For Ryan Yarbrough, the first inning, 14 pitches, 10 strikes. Second inning, 25 pitches, 13 strikes. Third inning, 20 pitches, 12 strikes. Fourth inning, 14 pitches, 9 strikes. Fifth inning, 8 pitches, 6 strikes. So did a relatively good job at eliminating the big inning. He finished with 82 pitches. Certainly could have gone deeper into the game, and I think Kevin Cash really wanted to get some major outs out of him, but gives up that home run to Brantley, and he pulled the plug on it. Thankfully, the bullpen got the rest of the way, and also thankfully, the series should be getting wrapped up at least within the next 2 games. Wouldn't be surprised if Houston maybe showed some fight. It's going to be tough sledding against Glasnow, but I think the thought there is maybe that the Stros finally get to the Rays bullpen, or maybe start actually coming through with some of those hard-hit baseballs. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I don't mean to kind of speak that into existence, but anyway, top of the 6th, this was the game right here. Jose Urquidy on. Arozarena starts off 2-0, then it's 2-2. Then gets a curveball up, so again hits the curveball. There you go. Singles into left, puts a man on. Then Brandon Lau grounds into a fielder's choice. It was right to Altuve between first and second, and Altuve goes for the lead runner. And that's fine. No. Throwing error. First and second, nobody out. Really just bad hit baseball by Brandon Lau. He chased the changeup down and away, like he is one to do, makes weak contact. But he ends up getting safe. The lead runner, Arozarena, is safe. 2 men on, nobody out once again. They make a pitching change, put in Paradis, and then put Maldonado at catcher. So that was kind of a bizarre move that they would even have Garneau, I guess, to catch. But either way, Urquidy comes out. Then Yandy Diaz singles to center to load the bases. Starts off 0-2, a couple of fastballs down the middle, then takes a slider way outside, and then singles on a slider up and into him. So that was kind of an odd kind of pitch, but Diaz able to see it and hit it to center field. Bases loaded, nobody out. Then Joey Wendell comes up, starts off 0-2. Fastball, basically kind of middle away, but more so middle, singles to left, 2 RBI single, scores Randy, and Lau moves Diaz to second, so first and second, nobody out, 2 in, 2-1 Rays. We know that they never look back. Margot, sack bunt, it was just kind of popped, it was weird, it was a bad bunt, popped straight up, but then Margot, watching the baseball, running to first, I guess Dave Wills called it a pick play. If you're familiar with that in football, I won't take the time to explain it, but if you know what that is, I basically just blocked the catcher Maldonado, and he kind of tripped over Margot's ankles. So Margot almost got to first base, and that would have reloaded the bases. Instead, he's out. Runners at second and third. So that a base hit would make it 4-1. And then Kiermaier gets hit by a pitch right on the left hand, and it was pretty bad. Started him off 0-2, so kind of got lucky that it was just a fastball that, again, ran just up and into him. Paradis had given him 3 straight fastballs. Had to leave the game, did run on the bases. He won't. I don't imagine he would play tomorrow, just by the nature of its low leverage. Just let him heal. Also, if they win tomorrow, let me just make sure that this is correct. I'll have to kind of pull this up. I don't think the World Series starts until next Tuesday. Is that right? So, wow. The World Series doesn't start until next Tuesday. So, say the Rays win tomorrow on, got to knock on the wood there, I guess. If they win, I guess now at 1:30 tonight, at Wednesday, they're going to get almost a full week. They won't play until next Tuesday against, obviously, the winner of Dodgers and Braves. So I wouldn't play Kiermaier tomorrow. Just give him some rest. Give him basically a week off, hopefully, and he'll be good to go, hopefully, for the World Series. And that feels so weird to say. So he gets hit by the pitch, but that does reload the bases. Then Adames gets hit by a pitch on the first pitch. So it was 2 straight pitches, but it was weird. One ran up and into the lefty, and one ran up and into the righty. So I don't know what Paradis was trying to do, but RBI scores Yandy Diaz, makes it 3-1 Rays. Hunter Renfroe pinch hits for Michael Perez. They bring on Brooks Raley, the lefty, and then I guess the Rays ended up countering with Renfroe. But Renfroe starts off 2-0. Then it gets 3-1, a cutter, 86 middle, and as he should, kind of pops it straight up into the air. but falls in front of the right fielder, I guess Kyle Tucker, and ends up getting a double out of it. So it's not the double that you would expect, but ends up scoring 2, scores Wendell, and he Kiermaier Adames to third. So it's 5-1 Rays. Runners at second and third with at that point, 1 out. So a chance to do some more damage. Meadows flies out on an 0-2 count. It was a slider down and away. So just like Lau, Meadows and Lau are the same players right now, and the fact that they're both batting in the top 3 is flummoxing me, but I guess I have to deal with it. Arozarena gets intentionally walked, which is smart. I don't even know why you pitched to him in this series. And then up comes Brandon Lau, which very predictably strikes out swinging. A slider at 81, middle, swung right through it. As Dave Wills will say, the most hittable pitch of the at-bat, and he just doesn't do anything with it, which is a bit disappointing. Bottom of the 6th, because of the pinch hit for Michael Perez and taking Kiermaier out of center, some substitutions had to be made. Margot comes into play center, in from right. Renfroe, who pinch hit, came into play right field, and then Zunino caught for Michael Perez. Yarbrough still on to get presumably the lefty Michael Brantley, or even just give him the inning. 371 feet to left goes Michael Brantley on the first pitch. It was just a sinker, middle in, just really easy. I guess lefty. So that's an opposite field home run for Brantley there. Made it 5-2 Rays. At that point, Cash decides to pull the plug on that whole thing and end up bringing in the bullpen. So he goes, the starters, all 3 starters in this series have only given the Rays 5 innings. So they go to the bullpen, Pete Fairbanks, to face the big boys. Well, Bregman, Correa, Tucker, and gets him out 1-2-3. All ground outs. The one to Tucker was a ground out to the pitcher and a nice play defensively there. So there you go. Basically, 1-2-3 inning. Good for Fairbanks. 5-2 Rays after 6. But still, 9 outs left to get. Top of the 7th. The Rays go down in order. Diaz, Wendell, and Margot. Can't add insurance. Bottom of the 7th. John Curtis comes on. This is his inning. Yuli Gurriel in the first pitch. A fastball middle, and just a spectacular play. I think it was just kind of... I want to say took a bounce off the mound or something, and Curtis just made a really athletic play at it and whipped it to first in time for out number 1. Josh Reddick pinch hit and on an 0-2 count, singles to left. It was a slider for Josh Reddick, which I believe was down and into him. So to catch a tough break there. Then Maldonado strikes out number 2, and then you get George Springer to line out to right, and that was the one. It was a fastball middle at 96, and that was the one I believe where Renfroe made the diving catch, and again that could have gotten pretty ugly there with Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Correa coming up. So very good on Hunter Renfroe for getting that out. Top of the 8th inning, Rays go down in order. Zunino, Adames, Renfroe. Again, not in the insurance business here today. Bottom of the 8th, Curtis comes on to face Altuve, I guess, and he singles to right on a 2-2 count. Fastball down and away, so a bit different from what Altuve has seen, really, I guess, outside of that. So a man on, nobody out. In comes Ryan Thompson, who didn't open because Cash wanted to use him late in the game. Faces the minimum 3 batters. And this game, I guess I'll talk about this now. I mean, this was kind of if you want a textbook reason against the 3-batter minimum, this is exactly it. Because in the playoffs, you really should be able to do whatever the hell you want. You shouldn't have any restrictions based on pace of play, whatever. I get it. I mean, if you want to make that rule in the regular season, fine, I guess. But just take it out of the playoffs. I mean, for God's sakes, it's not. Why can't it be the same like the extra innings rule? There's no point in playing all these absurd, long games in the regular season, whatever. Put the runner at second base in the 10th, determine a winner easily. But you say, okay, this is gimmicky. We're not going to do it in the playoffs. Well, what the heck is the 3-batter minimum? Is it not a gimmick? Is it not, one of Rob Manfred's bizarre little, smoke and mirrors to try and get the game shorter? But instead, with all this commercial crap, it ends up getting longer and longer each year. I mean, playoff games, 3.5, 4 hours. Tonight, I think, was exactly 3 hours, thank God. But, I mean, some of these games have just been way too long. Anyway, sorry for the tangent, but the point is, you should be able to bring in a lefty. If Cash wanted to bring in Loop just to face Brantley, he should be allowed to do that. Instead, with Altuve on, nobody out, you bring in Ryan Thompson to face the lefty Brantley, which I know Kevin Cash didn't want that matchup. Brantley singles. So all of a sudden, you got a couple of men on with nobody out in a 5-2 game. Bring the tying run to the plate. Alex Bregman, who you think is probably due at some point. He's been knocking the crap out of the baseball. I think all 5 of his outs, 0 for 5 yesterday, were like over 100 miles an hour exit velo. Strikes out swinging. Out number 1, a 7-pitch at bat. Sinker, 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 sinker. And then goes to the slider on the 7th pitch. So basically he fouled off, 91. How's 76 for you? And Bregman strikes out with it for out number 1. Then Correa reaches base on an infield single. It was kind of right to Wendell, but then he just kind of had to eat the play. He couldn't go anywhere with it. So that loaded the bases. And that put the tying run at first base with 1 out. Out comes Ryan Thompson, and comes Aaron Loop to face the lefty Tucker, who he gets to fly out to right. Then Yuli Gurriel, who I think has batted .500 in his career with the bases loaded, including 5 home runs, and he was, I think, number 2 in Major League Baseball in sacrifice flies, although that doesn't matter with 2 outs, but he's good, I guess, with runners in scoring position is the idea, and he grounds out to shortstop. A sinker. Wow, good for Loop, get 94. It was kind of middle, though, but a good play, I believe, by Adames defensively, aren't they all? And that was a huge threat, so they extinguished that. Again, they leave the bases loaded for the second time in this series in the 8th, and they left it yesterday, the bases juiced in the 9th. So if Houston needs a reason why they lost, I could very easily point that out to them. Top of the 9th, Meadows strikes out, swinging, a Rosarena singles, Lau fly out, Yandy Diaz ground ball. Bottom of the 9th, Brasso comes in to play first base for Yandy Diaz. Makes sense. Defensive sub. Diego Castillo on. I didn't necessarily think that they were going to do this. The spot for him was Aldamus Diaz, Abraham Toro, and George Springer. Again, I don't know why Jose Alvarado was put on this roster if Cash is going to use him, but whatever. I think Castillo could have been saved, but whatever 3-run game you want to use him, just like the situation with Anderson yesterday, fine, go ahead. Reddick strikes out swinging, out number 1. Toro pinch hits for Maldonado. He walks in an 8-pitch at bat, his first postseason plate appearance. Then you walk George Springer in 4 pitches. Sinker, slider, sinker, sinker. Just couldn't find the zone at all. Altuve battled that bat. All sliders. Struck out swinging down and away. That's pretty much all he... all 5 pitches of the at-bat were sliders down and away. And Altuve struck out swinging. There you go. That's what happens when you don't have the trash can in your dugout. And then Brantley fly out to center on an 0-2 count. It was a slider kind of middle away, or middle into the lefty. Michael Brantley flew out, I think, harmlessly to center, I want to say. But again, the tying run was at the plate with the 2 walks. So Rays keep getting in trouble. Astros just, I don't know, I think... if you don't believe in the baseball gods, you might want to look into that, because for all the Astros did to make themselves villains in the game of baseball, they have been frowning upon Houston. I think playing with them a bit cruelly as well. They let him get past the Twins in that BS wildcard series, and they homer the crap out of the A's to get that center stage against the Rays, the ALCS, and then you just wet the bed and get swept. I think that would just be fitting justice for them, and hopefully that's the way it works out. So you want to talk takeaways? Really for Game 3, Yarbrough pitched gutsy, as has all 3 starters. Gets the win there. Bullpen does his job but gets into trouble. Really, the story of this game is, again, the Rays capitalize on mistakes from the Astros, and the Astros can't take care of business. They get men on base, whatever. They put themselves in position to succeed, and then they don't. That's just, they hit the ball right to the Rays player. And some of the, diving catches, that's not necessarily on the Astros, but they just haven't been getting it done. And the Rays have defensively, and the pitching has been good enough. It's kind of funny. It's almost like Cash is playing these games with one hand tied behind his back because of the 7 games in 7 days, which I think is nonsense. But whatever, baseball made that call. Fine, that's not the way the best of 7 is supposed to be played. But I think the Rays have turned a best of 7 into basically 1, 2, 3, 4. See you later, which we would love to see. So that's it. That's about all I've got to say. I'm really just tired of this Houston team. I can't wait for the Rays to boot them out. Again, only one team has ever come back at a best of 7 down 0-3, the 0-4 Red Sox. The baseball gods probably smiling upon them. The curse of the Bambino was finally lifted. Baseball gods are most certainly not smiling down on the 2020 Houston Astros. So that kind of luck, that kind of fortune will not be in their favor, as has been the case over the course of this series. And the Rays, it seems like, teams would put up a fight, in Game 4, just kind of, this is the last game of our season, blah, blah, blah. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Houston comes away with the Game 4 win. It is at 8:40, once again on TBS, so I'll be on at, 1:30 in the morning doing this show, which I don't mind. Talking to you guys, nowhere else I'd rather be. It'll be Tyler Glasnow for the Rays against Zach Greinke of the Astros. Tyler Glasnow in the regular season pitched to a 5-1 record with a 4.08 ERA. Zach Greinke in the regular season pitched to a 3-3 record with a 4.03 ERA. Looking at what Tyler Glasnow has done, he's got 3 postseason starts. Wow. Look at him. The wild card game against the Blue Jays, Game 2 against the Yankees, and Game 5 against the Yankees. So we'll look at his Game 2 start. 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. Game 5, 2 1/3 innings scoreless of no runs, just faced the order one time through, and then 6 innings of 2-run ball against the Blue Jays. So I would love to see him go 7. Potentially, but I don't know. 5 I would say 6 innings is realistic. Looking back to the last time he faced Houston, which I don't know. This is a different Tyler Glasnow. He started games, I believe, 1 and 5, if I'm not mistaken, or games 2 and 5. I think games 1 and 5. Yeah, 4 1/3, 2-run ball. Game 5, 2 2/3, a 4-run ball. They were probably cheating. So anyway, make of that what you will. Taylor Glasnow is probably the best starter. Fastball, curveball. If the curveball's not there, we're in trouble, but the curveball really has been there as of late. So he's really spinning it right now. And for Zach Greinke, looking at what he's done in the postseason, a start against the Twins where he went 4 innings of 1-run ball, and against the A's where he went 4 2/3 of 4-run ball. He does this thing where he calls his own sign, like he puts up the 2 or whatever, I guess, for the, I don't know what, the curveball or the splitter or something like that. And the hitter can see it, obviously, and they know what that call is, and they crush it. I don't know what Greinke is doing. I don't know. I don't think he's that same guy. I know the Rays lit him up. I'm not seeing a lot of good starts on his sheet anyway. It seemed, all 5 innings, 4 inning starts. Looking at what he did in Game 3 against the Rays in the postseason last year, 3 2/3, 6 earned runs on 5 hits. Would love to see more of the same. So that's it. Hopefully it works out for the bullpen for the Rays. Jose Alvarado would be in play. I don't know why we haven't seen him yet. Probably will. Nick Anderson, I would imagine, would be in play if they have the lead, because you want to just close this thing out now, get it done in 4 games. I guess, although that layover could present a little bit of an issue, but I think they'd be fine. Castillo, I'd imagine, out of play. Curtis, maybe. Fairbanks, maybe. Those are all on back-to-backs. Fleming may come in, but I think they would want him to pitch in Game 5. So unless they're leading by a large deficit, or by a large margin rather. They would put him in. Aaron Loop would be out. He's pitched 3 straight days. McClanahan is in play. Slegers may be in play. Thompson is on a back-to-back. So they really don't have a lot of options, to be honest with you. Cash may just say screw it and just say, I'm just going to put these guys in, deal with it. I don't care that their arms are going to get blown out. But he typically doesn't do that. Fairbanks, I would say, is out. He pitched 2 innings yesterday, pitched an inning today, so he's out. Basically, your only A guys, Nick Anderson. I mean, you would think we got to be seeing some Jose Alvarado at this point. Slegers, I'd imagine they would want to save for Game 5 if there is one. That would be like a Slegers Fleming tandem start situation. But if you have a lead, that might go out the window. McClanahan, I think, could pitch an inning. Yeah, limited options. Curtis would be on 3 straight days. No, he would just be on a back-to-back. So there you go. So Curtis, Anderson as, I guess, your A guys. Then McClanahan, Alvarado, maybe Slegers. That's it. And for the lineup, by the way, Zach Greinke is a right-handed pitcher. I'll probably go Zunino to catch Glasnow. I think that just makes the most sense. So just have him catch the infield. They go Joey at third, Adames at shortstop, Brandon Lau at second base, Ji-Man Choi at first. If he's healthy, it looks like he'll be good to go. Your traditional lineup against right-handed starters. In the outfield, that's tough. I would end up going... I mean, I would put Yoshi in the lineup again. So I would do Arozarena in left, Margot in center, Meadows in right, and then I would have Yoshi DH. That's how I would do it. And then off the bench, you would have Hunter Renfroe, potentially Kevin Kiermaier, Yandy Diaz, Mike Brasso, and Mike Perez. So there you go. There's Game 4. I am exhausted. It's almost 2 in the morning. I know I kind of faded off towards the end. My apologies. So we'll be back, I guess, win or lose. It feels weird, doesn't it? I mean, going to the World Series is a big achievement, but it hasn't felt that much pressure's been on it. For the Yankees, I was celebrating like crazy. Game 5, all that stuff against Cole. It seemed like a big moment. This one, I don't know. It's huge, though. World Series, first since 2008. They've got a chance for the win tomorrow. Glasnow v. Greinke again. I would give favor to the Rays. They should be able to get to Greinke. We'll see. As always, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sports Radio 101.9 FM and Sports Radio 66. The Fan.
HBC.